Highway 90 is mostly deserted these days. It's a long road from New Orleans to Bay St. Louis, and it goes in other directions too. But years ago, when I was younger and living at the Bay, we decided that we'd make a quick trip. And so we were hitchhiking to New Orleans, and we were stranded out on Highway 90, surrounded only by a long, desolate road and cat-o'-nine tails, and it was still 3 miles to the White Kitchen, which was a place that some people know about and remember. No traffic going one way or the other, and so we were just standing there ready to thumb it again. And in just a little bit, we began to see a shimmer way down the road, and the shimmer became an automobile. And the automobile became a Mustang convertible. And we thought, sure, that this was our glorious moment of great encounter and that we were going to get a ride. So we stuck our thumbs out, and the guy didn't even slow down. He kept right on going. What an opportunity that fella missed that day to have a chance to get to know two young guys like us. Opportunity Road is out there, folks, and it calls to you, and it calls to me. What's beautiful about this particular passage is that there are some people that recognize that. Opportunity waits for response, and we're ready to go. And so here comes a convertible down the road. Old Ethiopian eunuch. All chariots are convertibles, just wanted to be sure. And Philip is just sort of doing his own thing, and all of a sudden he gets this word from God by way of an angel that I want you to go out there and did you catch it? Get into that convertible. And so he heads out immediately, and so he went. I think that is a great act of real faith. The guy comes, he's well-dressed. He seems to be well situated. We know that he's wealthy. He represents an alternate lifestyle. He is a high official in the government. He is related to a rich queen called Candace. And so a lot of folks might be a little teeny bit uptight about relating to all of this new experience all at one time. But not Philip. The Lord said go, and so he went. You and I are always called to risk our own defeat for something that's worthwhile and something that's good. And faith without risk is faith that never takes us very far. It's important for us to remember that. There's a storm raging, and the naval vessel is ready. The Coast Guard is being sent out. And the weather is so very bad that one of the mates says to the captain, he said, "Captain, we can't go out into this storm, even though there is a boat in distress, because we might not come back." And the captain said, "You're very right, son, but we must go out. And whether we come back or not is another story." And you and I, in risk, move from one place to the other to reach out and to share with and to serve in whatever opportunity and capacity is given to us as we stand along the road of life. I read this morning, and I had to write it down because it was so profound and such great theology and philosophy. I thought you'd like to hear it. There was a certain cautious man who never laughed or played. He never risked. He never tried. He never sang or prayed. And when one day he passed away, his insurance was denied. For since he never lived, they confirmed that he never died. Not great theology, huh? And so the man in the chariot invites Philip aboard, and he comes aboard. And he said, "I can't handle this without some help. There are two things that need to be said first. Study to show yourself approved, a workman or workwoman that need not be ashamed." You don't have to know everything, but you have to know something about God, and the most important thing that you need to know is what God means to you, and to find some way to be able to put that into language and express it with someone else, what God means to you. In this particular passage, the opportunity extends itself beyond that because he has a chance to show what he has learned about the prophet Isaiah. And so what he says to this guy who has asked for help, and don't give somebody your help until they're ready. Have it in your heart, but not in their face. And the guy asks for help, and he says, well, he's not talking about someone else, he's talking about himself. And the one who's talking, his name is Jesus, and let me tell you what Jesus means to me. And then he told his story. Just exactly the same way that you must tell yours. And just exactly with the varieties of different experience that would be represented as you told your story. But each one of us need to be ready to give a reason for the hope that's in us. We need to be ready without apology for that. And all you have to do is tell your story. You don't have to have a PhD in theology. You don't have to be the grandest New Testament or Old Testament scholar that ever lived. You have to be a person who is ready and who has been turned on enough by the presence and passion of Christ to want to share your story with someone else. Something like, there are no people that are lost causes in the love of God. There are no life experiences that cannot be redeemed if one only seeks that redemption. Tell the story in your way, in your own words. And there's something else about this lovely passage that's powerful too, and that is there are some results. So many times when you preach, you want results. I remember one time I preached a camp meeting, and you know what the results were of the entire week I preached there? 10 days. And the results were, during Just As I Am, which we'll sing in a few minutes. Jesus wrote that for altar call. And of course, he wrote it several hundred years later, several thousand. But anyway, you know what the end result of the week was? 4 packs of Lucky Strikes. Somebody brought 4 packs of Lucky Strikes up to the altar. Didn't kneel, didn't pray, didn't stay, just dropped them off and left. And so you don't know what the results are. It's not ours to calculate. It's ours to offer the opportunity. It's ours to stand on Opportunity Road and to let it be known that we are here to help if help is necessary. So he says, let's do it. Let's be baptized. Let's confirm it. And so the man that was in the chariot from Ethiopia became the man that went home satisfied. Did you realize that he didn't come to town for business? He came to town for a pilgrimage. Didn't it say that? Looking for God that he didn't find in town, but on the road. Who knows where? Who knows how? Who knows when God will speak to you? But here is a man that came seeking and went home redeemed. Here is Opportunity Road, where there wasn't much traffic that day, but the traffic that existed and came toward Philip that day was the change of the history of a human life. God does that. He does it when we are gathered in the church. He does that in the singing of one of Jean's songs. He does that in the moment every now and then of preaching. And he does that at the altar of Holy Communion on First Sunday, even though it's a little bit after noon. He still works. He is God. Amen.